Hello, and welcome to this guide here. First of all, as you can see, put some comps together here, and these are just some go-to comps that I always use, more or less. Let's just take a look at those first. One is, of course, the Beth lead, and with Lilith as a support. Then there's Garam with Veronica, Camel with Bari, Future Knight with Eva, or Eva with Future Knight. So you obviously know about the Dark one, that's super OP. That's with Beth, of course. Garam I don't use that often, but for this current season, which we're going to dive into more in a bit, it's extremely OP. And yeah, I'll talk about that in a bit. Camel, that's like your ranged option, basically, for if you don't play the melee. Also extremely, really good. If, for example, Dark and Earth is banned, I usually just go with a basic comp. Future Knight, I put that one first, usually, just for damage. Then I put Eva as the support. But if it gets really, like, if you get those, like, boss battles where there's no actual boss, but a bunch of small enemies, using Eva as a lead is actually really good, because her weapon skill just covers the whole field, pretty much, and that just stuns everything. So that's really nice, and then you can just put Future Knight as the backup. Let's take a look at the chains as well. And I see now that I did make a mistake, so I forgot to add the Meryl option down there as well. But let's just look at everything. So Beth chains into Lilith, we change into Ogma, we change into whichever healer you choose to go with. And also discussing the healers there. Mia is definitely the best choice here, hands down. There's no discussion. Mainly because of her party buff, skill damage. Favi has a really nice sustain heal. I think it definitely works to use Favi in Camazone as well. Orbital Lift, not so much, because you have that insane burst damage, and you need Mia for that, as well as, of course, the Little Princess, which we're going to talk about later as well. Merchandise. But yeah, and then you, of course, have Aoba, which is like a poor man's Mia. I personally don't like Aoba. She's not that good. Lorraine I've never used, actually, but I assume that she is also like a viable option, I guess. I could totally see that you use Lorraine and then you get Invader and it gets really ugly. So yeah, be careful with that one. I think I had my healing roster ready before she got her weapons. I never really got to use her, and now it's not really needed because I'll always have one of the three. And it works for me. But yeah, Lorraine is obviously another option there in terms of dedicated healers, and you can see they obviously take any of the ailments for the chain there. Then you have Garam chaining nicely into Veronica there with the Airborne, then goes to Ogma, then goes to Mia. Then you have the Camel thing going from Camel into Bari, and that's if you use Ogma as a tank, if Dark is not banned, then Bari would be your go-to, if you ask me. Definitely, because yeah, you just chain into Ogma. If you use Future Princess, however, if Dark is banned, then I would skip Bari and then go for either Meryl or Rue instead, and then chaining like that. There is, of course, other options than this as well, but this is just, like I said, my go-to, and it's working pretty well. As for basic, then you obviously have Future Knight, Airborne, into Eva, chaining to Ogma, and then to the healer. Or if you use Eva as a leader, then you would obviously go with Eva first into Future Knight goes to Mia, and then Mia changes back to Ogma. That's obviously also an option for that. Anyways, that's the comps. Let's move on to this season, the greenhouse season. Let's have a look. So I'm basing this whole season around 6 main components, and that's Mia and or Veronica, Audria, Power Booster, and then Basic Seduction. Then combine this with Little Princess figure, either for the tank or for more units if you have more. That's gonna make you more or less, not immortal, but it's gonna be crazy. Audria gives 100 skill damage, Veronica gives 80, so does Mia, and the benefit of Power Booster gives you 70%, so that's either 250 or 330 skill damage. And, you know, Little Princess, that's 15% of damage reduction. So that's either 37.5 or 49.5 less taken damage when you're wearing that thing with all this stacked up. And that's really crazy. And of course, Audria, you get the attack on kill and you get the shield increase on kill, which is going to be up more or less all the time with the Basic Seduction. So you're just going to get this insane boost. And of course, there's also one more artifact, and that is the Man-Eater. that's being super boosted with the basic seduction. So you're gonna have you're gonna be spamming weapon skills. It's really fun. I tried with one or two. It doesn't really make a huge difference as long as you have one. There's also the steel wing. What is it called? Let me check my spreadsheet. We are going. I always talk about the spreadsheet. It's gonna be linked in the description, of course, where you can see all the events and everything. It's called Steel Bone Wing, right? It does the same thing as the Man-Eater, except you don't get any attack from it. And you obviously want to have that on you in order to get Audria, so we'll get into that soon. But this is the base of all this. This is definitely my favorite season. Thanks to this, it's really fun for sure, and it makes it super easy. Let's just break down all the benefits, and then I also have our full run that I recorded earlier, so we're just gonna look at that. So one moment. And here they are. We only have 2,000 points as cap right now, so I just have to do it like this instead. In the top left, you can see that we have the basic seduction and moss arm. That's 1,000 points right there. Then we have the power booster, which I personally really like, and acceleration. That's skill region and skill damage. Then there's of course the crit, which I like to get 1 point into to get us closer to 50%, which is more or less before the diminishing returns happens. I mean, not actual diminishing returns, but you know, the more crit after 50%, you're just gonna yeah. Anyways, I'll spare you the details on that one. Anyways, we have also the damage reduction for those who wants to go a little bit more defensive. Then there is of course some other options. It's either the melee attack immunity or the range attack immunity, shield ignore. Depending on what you want to play or what is banned really, or what you have. And then of course you have some range damage and you have melee damage to get down there depending on what you play as well. And then you of course have the artifact support and store artifact. So as you probably have understood by now, this is a lot more than 4,000 points, so we can't sadly get all of this. So there are some different ways to do this. Basic seduction and moss armor, I would definitely get those. That means you don't need to get the shield thing. Later on, maybe you can go for the acceleration as well. That's weapon skill region. I would strongly suggest going for, now we have 2,000 points, right? So you get the two top left one, that's 1,000. Then the other 2,000. Skill damage is really nice if you have a little princess. Definitely get that one if you do. So that's 250. Then you can get another. Then you can get the crit in, for example. Then the 500. The 500, I would go with either the artifact. Ignore melee or ignore range shields, and then you have those 2,000 points right there. Of course, we have another 2,000 to spend when we are capped on 4,000. And this is where it gets interesting. So let's just say, for the sake of ease here, I made a run later that I'm going to show you after here in this video, where I went without the shield. So there are ways around it, but it's going to be RNG, and it can get really annoying. So I would definitely play with one of those, and then just play your favorite comp and stick to that really. But okay, seduction, moss armor 1,000. Then power booster, acceleration, that's 500. That's 1,750. Then you have the crit that you can get in, then you have 2,000 points, so we have that. And after that, depending on how you want to do things, you could either go for, let me see here. One of the ignore shields, and then either range damage or melee damage. So if you go for ignore melee attack immunity, then of course you go with the melee damage, and vice versa if you go with a ranged one. And then you have a really solid kit right there. The bad thing about that is that you obviously don't have artifact support and store artifact, and that's going to make you run a little bit weird, because you're going to have, what I would suggest then is that you avoid any of those event things until you can collect the steel bone wings and the mandrake to trigger the events to get the special artifacts. So if you don't want to do that, and personally I'm probably not going to do it, and I'll just go for the artifact support and store artifact, because I don't really need all those stats, and it's just more comfy to start with those and then try to get those things right off the bat, right? But maybe you don't have that many stats as I do, or whatever it could be, so then you really want to, because the thing is, artifact support and store artifact are nice, but they're also useless at the same time, because once you, if you could get those artifacts that you pick with this thing, if you get those normally during the run, I mean, you don't really get anything from them after that, right? So if you need all those stats, then I would probably stay away from that. You also have the Adamant body, which I really like, the damage reduction. And I would really, if you're not as tanky, then that might save your life as well. So do consider those things. There are also some other small things, like if you have the sharpshooter or the brawler, then you should not grab the artifact that gives you melee or range damage, because just stacking even more of that is not do that much for you. Also, if you use Ogma Tank, for example, you may not be as interested in something that gives defense, whereas if you use the Future Princess as a tank, then you might want a defense over some HP artifact. The Marshmallow, I don't have a picture of that, I'm lazy, but the Marshmallow, that's a nice one. It's 25% HP, and what was it, 800 damage reduction? Yeah, that's a solid one. Then you of course have the Deep Void Shield with the damage reduction and the defense, and of course you have the Twilight Mandrake as well, that gives you 30% defense, which is really nice, of course. So yeah, what do we conclude this on? So yeah, Basic Seduction, Moss Armor, either of the piercing shields, so now we have 1500. Then you can put acceleration, which means you don't need any of the those, what's it called, the 3D glasses, I can't remember the name. And then the skill damage, that's, let's see, yeah, then you have 2250, I believe. And yeah, then you can get the store artifact and artifact support if you want to have it easy, or if you really need the stats, then you can go for the sharpshooter or brawler. Yeah, just see what you can make of these, really. I think that's easier. I know it got a little bit messy now, but yeah. Let's get to the run anyways, and I'll see if I can... I'm gonna talk over the run, and I'm just gonna speed it up so it doesn't take like half an hour, so BRB. And I changed my mind, yes. I made it like this, it's much easier to see here. So you have like 3 different versions here. Maybe you can combine yourself, of course, but the left one, of course, that's a total of 3,500 points cost. And the middle one and the right one costs 4,000 Camazon points. The left one is... you can only have 8 benefit, right? So you can't have more, that's why we have a spare 500. Can't really do anything with that, which is sad. The middle one is capped out on 4,000, and so is the right one. However, the right one is also... it's only 7 benefits and not 8, so keep that in mind. But yeah, here you have some different combinations, and just look over them and see what you like, kind of. I would say the left one is the more convenient one if you're lazy. Yeah, then the middle one is the, I guess, most bang for the buck, and the safest one, I would say. And then you have damage reduction and stuff like that, and you can, yeah. And then you have the right one, of course, which is the one that does not give you the... It gives you more stats, really, because you don't have to, air quotes, waste anything on artifact support to store artifacts. Instead, you get like actual things from this one. And like I said before, you can of course go for some damage reduction in there as well if you want that. But considering the plan with everything here, I think you should be fine. So yeah. Anyways, let's get to the actual video now and the footage. And here's the run. Let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm going with Basic Seduction, Moss Armor, VSR, and Skill Damage. Only those 4. It goes a little bit faster. I just fast forwarded everything, so it's like 2 times speed here. So this will be a nice demonstration for when we don't have a melee shield. Or sorry, melee, ignore the melee, or range immunity, rather, yes. And also I'm not starting with an artifact, so we're going to see what tactic I'm using here. Just equipping the team, gonna go for the Gram team and the Veronica team. And let's see. There's Gram, yes. Ice Queen. And let's the SSBs and go with attacking crit card on him. Alright. And then I believe there is a range immunity shield right away, which I didn't see, so that was a bummer. So I'm gonna have to restart now, and also got lasered, so we have to change the position. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually using Hannah as the option here to deal with those shields. I'm just going with a sharpshooter and finding... There we go. Right, so we're putting Garam there so he can just fire into those towers. And there we go. And boom. That was Hannah. Niceness. Moving on. And oh yeah, the emulator crashed. And we're back. So, I got the defense artifact we saw as well. And here, taking care of this. There we go. Yep. So at this point I kind of don't want to step into any of the events to trigger the Audria event before I have the correct artifact. Just going through there. And there's a man-eater that's really lucky. We want to have that. It's gonna be crazy now. You can see the VSR of Garam is like he's firing all the time. There's another one, there's another one, and there's another one. Yeah. I will slow down the footage later. Oh yeah, I got the water attack helmet there. That's nice. Now we can kind of run onto one of these question marks to trigger that. But I still went for the shops just to test my luck there to see if I can get the Mandrake and the steel bone wing. Here I just went with the VSR one because why not? It was the best option there. Here I'm just okay. I'm not buying anything. Right. I'm talking after the recording, by the way. So yeah, can't remember exactly what I did, but there we go. Gnome Panopticon. That's really nice to have here. I think that's one that you definitely want to pick up, generally speaking. You told the healing you're gonna get. Could in theory go without, like I'm probably gonna do that, go without tank and healer even and land there. Maybe. It's pretty fun to do that. Too bad about this one here. I saw a lot of question marks in a row there, but I didn't really wanna unlock in the shop, climbing the trunk. So at this point I have one event where you climb up the trunk and steal the treasure up there. That could trigger, and I also have the shield on me. Sorry, not shield, the helmet. So I have two events that are more likely to occur. And right, here's yeah, this is your worst nightmare. Look at the timer here. It's a range immune Craig. That's really gonna be a bummer. And as you can see, it's a really close one. So that's the problem of not going with like ignoring the range damage there. If you run out of this or run into that. I was lucky though it happened early on, but yeah, you don't want that. Back with Veronica, going. And there we go. At some point I'm going to get two mandrakes where I'm going to slow down everything so you can see the difference of having two or one. And it's barely any difference. One is definitely enough. Whoop-oo. And there's the second man-eater. I was like, yeah, go with that one. It doesn't really give us anything. So let's just have a look here. I think we're using another boss. Yeah, so we can actually look at the boss battle and see the efficiency there. So I'll slow it down for that. There's the steel bone wing. That's perfect. We don't really need the VSR anyway, so... shop, looking for the Mandrake. Nope. I was thinking of getting the crit, but I was like, nah, there's the Mandrake. So replacing one of the helmet. Don't really want two of them, so... because that means we need more events for that, and I want to trigger to get the Audria, of course, and maybe the Mandrake event too. Here there was a melee immunity, I believe. Yeah, let's stop here. Just actually, no. What happened here is that I got bonked, or rather, my Hannah got bonked by the boss. As you can see here, the HP really goes down there. And yeah, she's dead. So I had to restart and put some more tank items on her. What I did was that I went with 2 defense cards and 1 little princess. I have 2 of them, so I put the second one on her just to make her survive, and that sure did the trick. And let's have a look now. This is the normal speed, so keep an eye on Garam's weapon skills. You see, it's just ready all the time, which is really crazy. Yeah, I just reset so fast. Now it's not as fast, of course, because we're not killing anything, but yeah. And then we can compare to when I get rid of that Mandrake and see how that goes. Anyways, take some time here. That Plitwise was trouble for sure. But yeah, Hannah's chain hits for so much, so it takes care of everything. And poof, gone. And we are back to double speed again. Let's go. Okay, we don't need those cloaks. We already have the moss armor. And at this point, I obviously have the steel wing, so I kind of want to go on events now. So I go up here, and there's the helmet, done. Here's another elite thing. Get Mia or Veronica back in there. Cleared. Yep. Nothing interesting there. SpongeBob. Yeah, now I got lucky. I got a cleanse there, so get rid of that pie there. I was just lazy here, so I didn't want to fight. So I was just like, just poke the machine, whatever that option was, the middle one. And my healer died here. We're gonna have to change the position a little bit there. Put her there. Put Veronica down there. Now the tank is just gonna take everything. That's fine. Those Zohis can really be scary sometimes, especially in the lift. Gonna notice a few of those as you climb. And now we are on floor 6. And yeah, taking the right lane. Shoof. And there we go, Audria. That's nice. And I also finished the Dopplant event. Here I'm just grabbing a deep void shield instead of that. So we're gonna slow it down again and play normal speed for the boss battle here. So let's just take a break. And first I'm just taking a look at Audria there. You have the attack on kill, shield on kill, and of course the skill damage. It's really, really strong. And here's the boss. These are scary. Let's take a look at Garam's VSR thing, by the way. It's almost the same as having 2 man-eaters, so you can definitely go with 1. It was also really close here, as you could see. Reason is that the boss wants to slice on the leader. So if you have this, you could honestly just put Ogmaster leader and you know, you're gonna be fine. That's what I did, I think, this morning when I did this. And let's see. Yep. So yeah, 1 man is enough, not 2. So I'll take that one back. I talked about that on Discord times. And here comes the hard rock. Figured, why not? Maybe get some marshmallow or something fun. There's a Mandrake of Dawn as well. Not a super fan of that one. What happens here? I think there was yeah, there's an Oba with a immunity going on there. And yeah, poof. Yay. And this stupid event, I hate that one. The one with the curses. Sometimes you get them like in a row as well. It's super annoying. Okay, nothing interesting. Keep going. So here's gonna be interesting. Or yeah, it's not yet actually. See what happens now. Let's take on the boss. That's a Gast. Nice. And that's the last floor. I'm personally not a fan of having like a lone flower, so nah. Skipping that. Either you like stack a bunch of them or you don't, but yeah. I'm not sure how strong the flower thing is nowadays. But yeah, this is just so much better. And it was nerfed, so. So now I have 1 chance, and I did not get the Mandrake or Twilight event, whichever that is. So now I just want to get rid of the Mandrake. We have no more use for it. So I'm going to replace it in the shop. I just grabbed that gun. And there's another man-eater, but I'd rather take the marshmallow. See if there's something else that's fun. It wasn't. Checking here. Nope. And yeah, going for the boss. I'll just slow it down so we can play at normal speed after we're done with this one, so we can see the boss as well. And we are loading out. Let's see. There we go. And yeah, here we go. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, got interrupted by the spike ball. Annoying. But yeah, Ogma is just invincible with this stuff. And I don't even have Mia in, so Anyways, I believe that's it for now. And just comment, of course, if you have any questions. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you again soon. There's going to be some more raid videos, by the way, and also some Scarecrow stuff that is planned. So stay tuned for that. And have a nice evening.